Hello friends and bees and friends who are also bees, and welcome to this week's Final Fantasy XIV stream. This week in FF14 we are going to be continuing through the story of 5.1 and moving on to 5.2 if we need to. When we left off last week we had helped start to turn Eulmore back into a functional city by going off to find Chinese, and we're gonna help him solve his problems is what we're gonna do. So let's swap over to the GP, shall we? I am sitting like a gremlin and my camera is slightly delayed, so we're doing great. Right, I'm gonna try something potentially stupid. How's that? Have I fixed it? I don't mean to alarm anyone, but I think I may have fixed it. Turn that up a little bit. But yeah, we are just pushing straight on with the MSQ. No shuffling about, no queuing for things just yet. It's just MSQ now. Turn my up this slightly. It's a little bit better. Sorry that I just stuck my hand directly into my camera while I was trying to move it. Problem is I sit like a gremlin, so I sit like this and then half of my body gets cut off. Then I angle it too far. There we go, that looks better. Right. Fire in Master Chai's eyes that was not there when we first met. A fire we had best keep kindled if we wish to see Eulmore change for the better. Ah. You had a hand in constructing that giant talus to north, did you not? When the Eulmore volunteers began arriving, I hid myself away lest I be recognised, thus depriving myself of what I'm reliably informed was a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle. Bugger. Renting geezer doesn't seem so bad. What was Master Chai worried about? He's got to give himself a bit more credit. Me too, buddy. Building talus from scratch would require time we simply do not have, which is why I propose to make use of the long-abandoned talus which wandered the wilds of Kalusia. They'll need to be deactivated, of course, and if memory serves, the tools required to do so should still be at top rung. Come with me. I think we've got like 2 or 3 quests left in 5.1 before we move on to 5.2. I'm so bad at like giving titles because I just want to be like MSQ instead of actually saying what we're doing the MSQ. Also, as a complete aside, I love how Auras sit on Uncle Midge. Such like a does not give a shit pose. I like it. Right. He's an authoritarian talus, is he? Huh. What other surprises could he be hiding, I wonder? How'd you catch a talus then? Dig a hole in their in? No, that's how you catch a Placer. It's one thing to repair an immobile talus, as Yonche did, but quite another to catch one, surely. Does this not sound a trifle dangerous? Well, that's what I'm here for. That is quite literally why you keep me around. Ah, the old memory hasn't let me down. The chest contains canisters filled with a dastardly potent insulating powder capable of halting the flow of ether and talus. We need only get within throwing distance of one and let fly. Thus disabling them without damaging. Ingenious. An old trick of the trade, nothing more. Once disabled, should be a simple enough matter to get them to march to Eulmore. More extensive repairs can wait. Ordinarily this is where I'd ask you to run along to do the deed, but as I've said before, it's high time we learn to stand on our own 2 feet. Thankfully, throwing canisters is something even I should be able to manage. Come off it, Master Chai. Even if the Talons ain't a threat, there's 101 other things out there waiting to make a meal of you. That's as may be, cashier, but Renton tasked me with solving this problem, and I will not sit idly by while others risk everything to see my harebrained schemes realised. Not this time. Which isn't to say the mere thought of it doesn't fill me with dread. Truth be told, I can't feel my legs. Maybe just need to eat something. If I'm to prove a man worth following, I must lead by example. Well said, Master Chai. Alright, but if there's any trouble, we'll call it off. Well, I should go without saying I have no intention of dying for this. I've always preferred living to see the fruits of my labours. To make sure I do, I require help. And as this cashier says, these lands are dangerous if one is not careful. I would ask you to use my spyglass to look out for any beasts that would get in the way of my work. I'd also need you to alert me when it's safe to subdue the Talos. Understood? I feel like here is actually slightly more in, to the quick way through the North Gate, see if we can't find a suitable vantage point for you. How as soon as I selected that, I'll call it off, I was like, here is much more accurate for our shard, who's like, yeah, put yourself in danger, what do I care? Offers not, or this means more to him than he's letting on. Nothing to worry about, just a simple matter of sneaking up on the Talos while avoiding slavering bloodthirsty beasts lurking behind every drog. Child's play. When you're ready, let us begin. Little point in us both shouting instructions. Keep him safe, our shard. When he first arrived, I could barely hear him over the Kinesies. And now this. I'm not sure what's gotten into him, whatever it is, I like it. Okay. I think I failed this the first time I did it. Anyway, the reason I say maybe you can't feel your legs is because that's what happens to me. This afternoon I was in a meeting, I forgot to have breakfast, and then we were in a meeting, and it hit 2:30, and abruptly it was like, I haven't eaten in so long, I am so hungry, and like all of my hands were going numb and shit. All of my hands. Anyway. I did it! Let's move on to another Talos, shall we? Curses, it's not alone. So we want to give the signal when it's... There we go. I do believe I'm getting the hang of this. I really like these mini games. I like that they make it a bit more interesting. May leave the next one to me, Ashard. Yeet. Now we have all we need to proceed. I love that yeah emote. I love it so much. I have such deep, great affection in my heart for yeah. Blimey, thought my heart was going to stop for a moment there. Make that a couple of moments. Our friend returned with nary a scratch. Well done. See my misjudged, Master Chai. There may yet be hope for Eulmore. Doing different voices is odd. I can scarcely believe it. It was a reckless, foolish plan, but somehow it worked. I did it. Master Chai, I believe I owe you an apology. Your plan to replenish Eulmore's fuse door showed forethought and sound judgment. What's more, explain your time at Deedler Stoneworks has equipped you to lead, as evidenced by the extraordinary company you keep. You, sir, are more than qualified to be the next mayor of Eulmore. Thank you for your vote of confidence, but the fact remains I'm wholly ignorant of the world of politics, which is why I would ask you to join me and grant Eulmore the benefit of your counsel. I would be honoured. And the people who hold these Talos, I have no doubt they will lend you their support. Seeing Eulmore's leadership is at last in capable hands, would you not agree? We should probably be getting back soon. Master Chai, after you tinkered with the Talos and all that, Lady Chai's worried sick. Just updating stream title. With apologies if you got my clicky clacky keyboard. Instead of biting at my lips, why don't I just put lip balm on?
Right. Right then. Form a line and make for Eulmore. What's that noise? Wicked White! Runaway Talos!
Not quite.
Call the guard!
Almost, but not quite.
Stay back! All of you!
I do like the Eulmore outfit. I just like that helmet with the horns that you can't see out of. That's my aesthetic, personally.
Is that?
Hello.
You're back. But of course I'm back. You didn't see. I can't.
That somehow coincided exactly with the sound of one of my link shell alerts going off. I love this. Is the thing I really like Shadowbringers is I love those little touches of like the twins like pushing each other in the background, or like Alfie bending down to help heal someone.
The sight of you filled me with such joy, I couldn't help myself.
Oh no, it's all right, dear. I should have just come out and said what it was I was intending instead of entrusting the task to a hastily scribbled letter.
Does that mean you'll do it?
Well, I'm here, aren't I? I mean, not that my absence signified any unwillingness, you understand? Oh, no, naught could be further from the truth. I only left to enlist the aid of the former mayor's senior advisor.
Who's in this like old caster gear.
And now that I have it, I believe I am ready to take office.
Oh, how wonderful!
I do love the moments of comedy in this game. They make me smile. I'm so sad we're not getting a Hildebrand. I'd love to see Hildebrand on this, or on the first rather. Sorry I wasn't much help. Still, seeing Master Chai go after those Talos was so inspiring, eh? I dare say the future of Eulmore has never looked brighter. I'm fine. Just need a moment. Thank you again for finding my husband. I confess I was not expecting your return to be quite so grand. Dear sweet man, he's going to make the most wonderful mayor, I just know it. That was quite a reception. One Master Chai will struggle to forget. More seriously, the arrival of the Talos has seized the public's attention. Once word is spread all around Eulmore, it will be that much simpler to gather one and all so that Master Chai can make his inaugural address. No time to lose. Must begin making preparations for the inaugural address. No need to fret, Shard. I've never felt better. I'm not at all overawed by the prospect of addressing the assembled masses of Eulmore. As for where to do it, for it to accommodate everyone who might visibly wish to attend, I suppose the only place large enough would be the Emergent. Then I will go and spread the word among citizens, both free and bonded, that they are to assemble there to meet their new mayor. You there, Kaishir was it? Would you go and inform the residents of Gatetown and the derelicts? Of course I will. Good lad. I will let the guards not to bar the way to Valtry's chambers. Goes without saying I expect the Warrior of Darkness to attend. Assuming he's available, might as well see it through to the bitter end, eh? The doorman at the Crown Lift will lead you up. Make sure everyone's there for Master Chai's big speech, so get yourself down to the Emergent. Go! You got it. Just like go flying through that town. Because why walk when you could fly, right? Right, Plaza, here we go. Sorry, I keep making a face at my drink because it's underwhelming. Oh, whoops, wrong button. Come on, load screens. Be less long. Playing Destiny with those load screens, so I suppose loading into Eulmore is just like that. Master Chai told us to expect you. Emergent's already filling up with people of all persuasions. But for you, sir, guest of honour, we've reserved a place at the front. Right this way, sir. Okay. Shut up and listen to Chinese's speech now, I guess. Me too, buddy.
Go on, dear.
Thank you all for gathering here today. But before going any further, could I ask the free citizens of Eulmore to look around? It is a sight none of us would ever have seen under Lord Forthree's rule. Not only do we stand in the familiar presence of those we once called the Bonded, but today we welcome the peoples of the Derelicts and Gatetown too. Today we welcome the Warriors of Darkness, come to bear witness to Eulmore's new beginning.
Not happily, but he's here.
As you know, an election was recently held, at the end of which I had the honor of being chosen to succeed Lord Vorthry. You place great faith in me, and I promise to do my utmost to live up to your expectations, and I will seek always to carry out the duties of this office with integrity and fairness. Always, I say, but not forever. Let it be known that I do not intend to hold this post indefinitely. I consider myself but an acting mayor, who will serve only for the interim, while Eulmore is reshaped according to a new set of values.
Good lad. Democracy in action. Elections every few years. An indefinite leader is not good.
No longer can we think of ourselves as divided, as the free and the bonded, citizens and non-citizens. The systems put in place by Lord Vorthry must be undone. But even as we tear down the old, we must give thought to the new, to what manner of nation Eulmore should become. Whatever the answer may be, it cannot be decided by one man alone. And so I propose that an open forum be held, that we might all discuss how best to strive towards a better future. However, there can be no talk of the morrow unless we first address the issues of today.
The only person I like in Eulmore is this guy with his bright purple buzz cut.
Securing new sources of food, rebuilding relations with our neighbors, re-establishing industry. There is much and more that needs to be done. Too much for a mere man of business. And so I pledge instead to do everything in my power to ensure our city's security and stability while we all work together to see these problems solved. The road before us will not be easy, and I know full well how daunting the prospect of honest labor may seem to some of you. But we must accept the reality of our circumstances. We must move forward. This much we owe to ourselves and to the brave heroes who risked their lives to bring back the night. Once we have shored up our city's foundations and regained some semblance of normality, let us reconvene to speak of the future. Until then, I humbly ask that you lend me and each other your strength. For Eulmore!
I do like Chinese. He's a good lad. Also, I keep getting distracted because I'm gay by the Ellison in the fishnets and the booty shorts and the thigh highs. Like, I don't know what sort of look that is, but it's my sort of look. I have this sudden and desperate wish to change Rashard's hair, but just to change, like, the tips. So that, like, rather than having it be, like, sort of grey in the front and then going into white at the back, which is what it does at the moment, I want it to be white and then go into, like... I'd probably put it as blue in the back, as a sort of throwback to his Secret World Loomy days. Because, like, if you look at him now, I don't know, I'm not feeling this hair anymore. I think I'm going to change it soon. I don't know. That was a fine speech, Master Chai. I believe your words stirred every soul in attendance. Stir them to action, I hope. If I've learned anything from this, it is that change begins with the individual. It is but a matter of finding the strength to take the first step. Assuming my fellow Eulmorans can, it shall be my honour and privilege to help them walk this road we have chosen. But we must not forget the individuals who made all of these changes possible. Well, within my power, I carve a tribute to heroism in the very stones upon which the city stands. That sounds like a bad idea. I hate to change the subject, darling, but have you, to officially taken over, have you given any thought to your mayoral seat? Not be moving from the emergent, dearest. It's too big for one thing, and too far from the people for another. We'll retain our current residence, and I will govern here in the parlour. I was hoping you'd say that. I much prefer the view from the parlour. Begging your pardon, Master Chai, but have you got time for a word? Yes, of course. Hathenbet? That's me. Like your speech. But there's folks outside these walls that don't have enough food to last till tomorrow, and more who are counting their crumbs. If you've a plan to change that, I want to help set things in motion. Then we've much to discuss. No sooner do I take office than my work begins in earnest. Well, I suppose I brought it upon myself. Thank you again for your help, Ashard. I hope to see you again before long. What a day. I don't know what it means exactly, but I do know I've got plenty to think about. Since we all have a great deal to consider, I'd resolved to remain here until such time as Eulmore's future was secured, but it is clear to me now that the city is in capable hands. I have every confidence they'll find their way, and I believe that it's time we went on ours. I like that they've retained all of their excess. Master Chai at the helm, if only for the interim. I feel I can bid farewell to Eulmore and return to the source with no regrets. Alphen is leaving too, is he? Seems like everyone's moving on. Everything's changing. Been thinking about what I should do in all this. Like I told you, I spent most of my life dreaming about living here with my friends, in paradise. Paradise is gone, but something better's taken its place, and I reckon I want to be a part of it. This Eulmore for the people Master Chai's been going on about ain't gonna build itself at all. After all, not that much of a builder. Me and my friends find a way to make a difference, though. Help keep things changing for the better. A far nobler dream than the one to which you clung before, and one I'm happy to say we share. Whatever path you choose, I will pray for your success. Put it like that, there's no going back now, is there? We've got a few ideas on how we can do our bit, just a matter of taking the first step. Now you guys get to see all the dumb things I do while I, do my different voices. Truly, to see Kai share thus inspired by our actions is inspiring in itself. Yet, however much I wish to stay and see what comes of his efforts here in Eulmore, we have a matter of the throne to attend to. Come, we should return to the Crystal Tower. Mayhap Beck-Luke's studies have borne fruit in our absence. Sure how I'll do my part to Eulmore, but I'll think of something. Yes, let's return to the Crystarium. Can't believe I only just thought this, but Anima from the Anima quest lines. I don't have this pet on the guy, but I do have it on Maeve. is Heidelin. I'm sure approximately 5,000 people have had that thought before and said it better than I ever could, but it's just a fun thing that I thought. I love how this top looks, and I wish it looked better on dudes. I had a thought. I'm gonna check a thing quickly. Bear with me. Hi, Pixie! I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're feeling better. I'm trying clothes on. Don't mind me. I really like how that looks. I'm trying out dye previews. That looks okay, I guess. I think these sort of more muted colours look better on him. They still don't look great, but looks best in a black, I think. Or like plate armour. I think his gold will look really nice too. Everything looks nice when it's gold. Anyway. Like this? I don't know. This looks really good on him. I may have to stock up on metallic gold or metallic yellow dye. I personally think this looks brilliant. This looks nice as well. Obviously the best one is this. This is the best look. I just happen to, I really like how that one looks. Anyway, I'm going to stop trying clothes on and actually go for the story. Enter the ocular. Because we've got some friend souls to put back in their bodies. In the course of preparing more oversight, we made a significant discovery. We thought it best to wait your return before sharing our findings. It would seem Alice is yet to return from the inner journey said. I do hope she doesn't overtire herself. My congratulations, Zashard. Glad tidings from Eulmore did precede thy coming. I'll see that Thancred and Reen hear of these momentous events, that they too might take joy in that which thou hast helped to bring along. I take it ready to resume our work? I don't have a voice for Beck Luke yet. They get my normal voice. Welcome back. Given to understand a new mayor has taken office in Eulmore. Indeed, our good friend Master Chai was elected by popular vote, and after some considerable soul-searching, chose to accept the post. It's a shame you weren't able to attend his inaugural speech, though I have no doubt you'll see more of him in the future. But tell me, how fared you in preparing the White Auracite? Our work did not quite proceed as expected. In your absence, we had a frank discussion on the principles of soul transference, and concluded at length that White Auracite was ill-suited for our purposes. Oriange, did you not say that, compared to the massy soul of an Ascian, the stone could house one of ours without ease? That I did, and armed as we were with Beckluke's invaluable insight, it would indeed prove a trifling matter, were we to disregard the inviolable link twixt mind and soul, a link which would, we did belatedly realise, be weakened most perilously in the process of rendering our souls dormant, as Auracite doth require. Thus the shedding of these fleshy simulacra, and the surfeit of ether which compriseth them, would in all likelihood deprive us of our psyches as well. It would theoretically be possible to channel your minds into the Auracite instead, but we would more than likely sacrifice your souls in the process. Which is why we've abandoned that plan, and instead devoted our time to finding a means by which mind and soul might be transported together. Then we are no closer to a solution than when we first began. It is a vexing conundrum indeed, but one for which the Crystal Exarch has posited a most intriguing solution. When our discussions turned to the transference of memories in the psyche, I could not help but be reminded of a technique with which I had personal experience. Ashad, do you recall what we learned in my eyes from our encounter with the Une and Doga? Speak of the royal line of the Allegan Imperial line, gifted to my forebears through the blood and memories of the ancient Allegans. It is by this gift that I am able to control the Crystal Tower. If we were able to gain an understanding of the technology by which the Allegans were able to accomplish this transference, perhaps we could then keep mind and soul together. Imagine, if you will, a device like unto a soul crystal, replete not only with our worldly memories, but also the bountiful energies of the soul. That is our current avenue of investigation, and we will follow it wheresoever it leads. While we are thus engaged, I think it best that I should return to the source and inform Kryl and the others of our findings. Agreed. I imagine Tataru will be relieved to hear we've made progress of a sort. Then I would beg leave to relay our findings to Thancred and Reen, and to assist where I may in the investigation of the empty. Please do. Should we have need of your counsel, we will not hesitate to summon you. So it's like, tell Thancred and Reen I'll be along shortly. I've got other stuff to do first. Give our regards to Tataru, won't you? I have not so every Tuesday comes around, and every Tuesday I forget the voices I've got for the various archons. Peckluke insisted we resume our work forthwith, but I grew weary at the thought. What I would not give for a cup of tea and perhaps a vanilla tart. Sure, pray the link to their bodies in your world will endure a while longer. Should it fail, our efforts will be for naught. Mark my words, Ashad, we will unlock the secrets of Alleganai and see the others returned home. There was a time when I thought these eyes are cursed, you know, but for what they've enabled me to do and what they may yet make possible, I see now they are a blessing. With the benefit of our combined knowledge and the aid of the first leading authority on soulcraft, we must surely be able to find a solution. Surely. Well, maybe. You never know. Anyway, how are you, Pix? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing certainly better than you were previously. I hope you've had a chance to relax a bit as well. I am, much to my annoyance, no longer on holiday. But that is just how it be. Ah, I forgot we can't fly here. There's a moment of abrupt what as I start emotionally to take to the skies. And then realise that we can't. Come on, dude. Ooh. After this, I think we're going to get a dramatic Meanwhile in Garlemald cutscene, which is intriguing. Meanwhile in Garlic Mold. Hi. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in. There we go. Made it eventually. Not that I expect any less, but it's good to see you home and unharmed. I'm pleased to report that Arenvald and his primal hunters have upheld the peace while you've been away. Pleased to see you, Ashad. I cannot well imagine what sort of world the first is, or adventures you've had, but that you have returned to us safe and sound is of great comfort. Mistress Carla surprised us to the Archon's present, an unexpected situation. You may rest assured we will support her in any way we can to keep their bodies looked after. I don't think that's what you said, but I'm paraphrasing. Ashad, you're back. How did everything go in the first? Wait, don't tell me. Krell will be here shortly and she'll want to hear too. She's just tending to the others. Their bodies, I mean. God, I don't think I'll ever get used to saying that. Anyway, you can tell us everything the moment she gets here. Strap in for this cutscene warning. That's me putting on my cutscene warning seatbelt.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
You're welcome. I mean, what? No. Words.
Carried out the treatment as per Master Matoya's instructions. It should slow the destabilization of their corporeal ether quite significantly. But tell me, how fare our friends in the first?
So as I understand it, there's 3 parts to someone in this game: body, mind, and soul. And we are able to go backwards and forwards, all of us.
So
But
the Specklugs the first to lead an authority on soulcraft, are they? Sounds promising.
And Urianger's proffered solution of white auracite is rather ingenious now that I think of it. Well, while they press on with their preparations, you may rest assured we will continue to do our part here.
Oh, you're back.
Hey, Estinien.
And none the worse for wear, I see.
Well,
Estinien! Oh, thank the gods! We've been worried sick. Did you lose your link pearl or something?
The situation in Garlemald has become more complicated. I was making my escape from the capital when I ran into one of yours, Riol. He thought it best we come straight here.
More complicated how?
Where to begin? After entering the Empire via Razat Han, I went about my mission of investigating Black Rose. It was then, inside a provincial factory, that I encountered the one who styles himself Shadow Hunter, Gaius Baelsar. Our goals being apparently aligned, we joined forces and ventured on into the heart of the capital, to the very Imperial Palace itself. There, we found a man whom all assumed dead. But his soul lives on, and he has wrested back his flesh.
sorry to take screenshots. I was looking up a thing.
Xenos ye Galvus.
Fucking, I'm so angry at this. Xenos can eat my ass. And in a gross way.
Nor did the surprises end there. For no sooner had we arrived than he murdered his sire in cold blood. The Emperor is dead. This sent Gaius into a rage, and he charged in, blade drawn. What's wrong?
Ashard's echo visions come to him as piercing headaches, so he's very unhappy about it. Every time he has an echo vision, he gets really angry about it because he's exhausted afterwards. Like me when I get my dehydration headaches. What? See him in action. His body, at least. You will not best him alone. Death will not come easily to that thing. If you would join me, then by all means. For what good it will do. Black Wolf and the Azure Dragoon. Suppose this might surprise. Come, then. Yeet. That's very realistic to how it is to be a dragoon. You jump in, enemy picks you up by your spear and just throws you away. The simple pleasures of one's own flesh. Truly, there is no place like home. Abomination. Whatever he is, a shard was barely a match for him. If we stay here much longer... Emperor Varus, your radiance, are you all right? We may wear out our welcome. Your radiance, no! Must even the most middling of sport be spoiled? The world conspires to bore me, but I have no cause to remain. I leave these vermin to you. Xenos! Scout. Well, any bright ideas? Just one. God, how dramatic. Ah. Your radiance. Intruders have taken flight. I repeat, the intruders have taken flight. Deploy all available Magitech armor. We cannot let them escape. Dun dun dun. It really was a Meanwhile in Eulmore cutscene. In the coming battle, you will fight as Estinien Wormburn. As we all know, his name is Estinien Wormburn. God, I wish the AoE rotation was really just you hit the same button over again. There they are, stop them. Beep. Although I suppose you do get to see the abilities a lot better when you're playing as Estinien. Let's keep moving. Oh, there is no end to them. Little Nopes. You will pay for your crimes, traitor. God, I love being a melee and being able to move. Anya, on my mark. Imperial Guard up here. Okay. I think not. Damn it. This way, quickly. Imperial Palace is so... Make ourselves easy marks by moving together. I suggest we split up. I'll take the low road, so to speak. Yeet! Fucking... I'll see you outside. Stay safe. We need dragoons be like yeet. Anyway, the palace is pretty cool. I hope we get to explore more of this area later. I still have this dream that 6.0 takes us to Eulmore properly. and we actually like go hang out in Garlic Mold. Oh, well, well, someone's been busy. I hate it so much. Volatile prototype. Arc Ultima. And you would bear my way, would you? So be it. Come, Nidhogg, lend me your strength. Man, if he was a real dragoon, Blood of the Dragon would have worn off at that point. Right. So what does this do? I would just like fucks people up. Haven't much time. Right. I'm gonna forward a name property field test. So loaded data, all systems not functional, badly damn you. No downloading sample data 14. Angry salamander. If you bear my way, then you will feel the wrath of Nidhogg. It's not working. Ready another sample. The one taken from Castrum Avania. Now loading data sample 12. I briefly forgot read Roman numerals. Forgot how to Roman numerals. I forgot how to speak and also how to read Roman numerals. Can't believe the Estinien doesn't get fuck me stun locked during Stardiver, but we do. The idea of being able to move for Stardiver is so weird to me. What? I have to sit through the entire thing again? Fucking teach me not to die, right? Fine. We'll continue to play as Estinien Wormburm. My favourite people in Destiny are the people I saw on Twitter who were Estinien Wormburm and Emmett Squelch. followed by the Gimli and Legolas pair that I ran with recently. They were very good. I think I took a screenshot. I can't remember if I put it on Twitter or where, but I had a couple of strikes with them, and they were pretty decent folks. Just keep moving. Julia and Anya look so cool, and then there's just us like, what's up, it's me, I'm here too. This one, are they both gunblades? The red one, I can't remember which one it is. She looks more like a ninja with that stance. But I'm surprised, I wonder if it's I don't know, I'm surprised that they would have ninja in garlic mold. Right. Let's hop to it. And not die. Yes, I want to skip the cutscene because I've seen it already. Initiating synthetic aurosite system. All systems now functional. Seriously, they're not being motion locked for Estinien. It's so unfair. Right, so going to load data sample 14. He does the ability Angry Salamander. We will not get hit. And then Terminus Est, it is the end. Drive back the soldiers with a horrid roar. Ah. I never noticed before that this was the Beef Soft Tacos song. It's not, but it's a similar theme to Beef Soft Tacos. Okay. It's fine. Just be careful and... Increase generator output to maximum. Activate the Magitech field full power. It's bad. I completely forgot that I have horrid roar that I should have been using throughout. Ha! Works. Arch Ultimate is unstoppable. Unstoppable? We shall see about that. I like it that he... Needhog, show them your fury. Yeet self out of battlefield. I mean, if you ask politely. How come Estinien gets to look like that at the end of a fight, and yet when I finish a fight, I am more often than not just dead on the floor? We hate it, precious. Galleons and the Machina. Now, where are you, Gaius? Kurt. Beef soft tacos, beef soft tacos, beef soft tacos, beef.
Are you alright?
Arshad's gonna go lie down for a week after this. He hates getting echo visions. It really hurts him.
Peer into my past, did you?
Not willingly, buddy.
Well, I didn't quite relive the experience as you did, but I bore witness to it all.
I'm still not sure what I think of this gift of yours. But no matter. Our confrontation was cut short when the Imperial Guard arrived. It was then that Xenos took his leave, citing boredom.
To think their research into the Echo could bear such fruit. Escaping death, jumping from one body to the next, and returning to his own after all this time. He is an Ascian in all but name.
Any just?
It beggars belief, aye. But no more than a hero traversing the rift between worlds.
Arguably, it beggars much more belief, if you ask me.
My concerns are far more prosaic. With the Emperor dead and the Crown Prince missing, the Empire is in disarray. Until order is restored, assuming it even possible, we needn't fear an Imperial reprisal. And for reasons of his own, Xenos took it upon himself to rid the world of Black Rose. Riol has already gone to apprise the Alliance leaders of these developments. We may leave the matter in their hands for now.
Then perhaps we have seen the last of the fighting at Gimlet. Though, if it comes to civil war, I cannot help but fear for the provinces. I'd nearly forgotten to ask. What became of Gaius? Did he not escape with you?
That he did, but we parted ways shortly after leaving Garlemald. He claimed another threat had arisen which demanded his attention. He didn't elaborate, but the absence of some device or other in the capital gave him reason to believe they're planning something. Lest you worry, I believe he has well and truly shed the Black Wolf's pelt. Conquest is no longer his objective.
safely leave him to his own devices.
Estinien, you're a terrible judge of character. Be that as it may, it doesn't make him a good guy.
Well, it's nice to have one less foe to worry about, even if we do have a mysterious new threat to look out for instead. Speaking of which, I'll see that Riel and Al Shinobi are made aware. Though we still know next to nothing, it can't hurt to be vigilant.
Well then, with Black Rose nipped in the bud, I believe I've fulfilled my part of the bargain.
That's true, but with the Archon still slumbering away, we were hoping you might agree to stay with us for a little bit longer.
Is Tatara gonna turn on the eyes?
Sorry, but I'm not inclined to extend my contract. Gaius isn't the only one with business to attend to.
Thank you for your help then, Estinien. I see why Alphino admires you so.
I love Kryles so much.
Farewell, my friend. See that you don't make a habit of dozing off in battle.
It's so fun to see that with actually seeing the expression on your character's face, because with Maeve I'm mug all the time, so...
I suppose we should all be getting on then. As ever, we will see to the Archon's needs. In the meantime, why not get some rest? You've more than earned it. Go on.
Ashard and Estinien definitely go out for a drink after that, though. Just to, like, go catch up. I had two thoughts during that cutscene which I wanted to get out into the world. So the first thought was about the issue with the Archon's bodies. So it seems like, got my eyes closed because I'm concentrating, there's sort of three bits. There's mind, body and soul. And so with us, all three of us, when we go to and from the first, all parts of us are going across. For Ashard's case specifically, I had canon that, I don't know, the transporter or something wasn't working. And so he couldn't teleport during the events of Shadowbringers, and so he spent the events of 5.0 stuck on the first, and now he's able to go to and from, and he's basically Tataro and Kryl are having to sort of bully him and control him into doing stuff. And Ishtarla as well. Ashard gets bullied and controlled by the female Archons, because they're the only ones he listens to. But the issue with the Scions, the Archons, whatever you want to call them, is that their mind and body have gone over, and they sort of formed this corporeal ether, basically taken this, like, fake bodies, which allow them to interact with things and fight shit, but the real bodies are still here. Those are just, like, ether constructs, basically. Almost like Yassians, I guess. But not their actual real bodies, which are stuck here. And so the issue is you could put the soul into the White Aura site and send it over, but it would lose their mind, or you could put the mind over and it would lose their soul. And I guess, I don't know what it is, there's something about, like, a soul by itself is one thing, a mind by itself is another thing. I feel like maybe a soul by itself is a ghost, a body by itself is a zombie, and then, like, a mind by itself is something else. I don't know. Anyway, I know this game has talked about that before, that, you know, if you were to put, say, the soul into and the body, it would be a walking, talking, functional person, but it wouldn't be our friends. And if we would put the mind into the body, there would be something else wrong, because it wouldn't have the souls would be stuck. Either way, there's no good way of doing it. The other thought I had, which is about the calamities, which I'm still not 100% sure on, I'd like to confirm. As I understand it, what has to happen is that there has to be... I wonder if it's like, if something goes wrong on one of the other worlds, that will always mean a calamity on this world. And so the calamity that would have been Black Rose, let me put it this way, what I don't understand is if it's that in order for a world to collapse, there has to be two separate things have to happen at the same time, or if one will always lead to the other. So if, for example, it has to be that on the source Black Rose was going hog wild, whereas on the first there was going to be a flood of light. I don't know if those two have to happen at the same time for it to do the thing, or if it's that if Black Rose happened, something was always going to go wrong, say on the first or on another planet, or that if there is a flood of light, there was always the flood of light almost like causes it reverbs back to the source and causes a calamity. As I understand it, it's the latter. So what Black Rose does is it fucks up your ether one, presumes it basically suffuses it with light, because the idea is that there's a aspected calamity on another world, and that leads to a similarly aspected calamity on the source. So I'm guessing what that means is that the strings of fate conspire such that there would have been a flood of light, and then at the same time there would have been Black Rose. And so you wonder if it's sort of coincidental that they were dealing with Black Rose, and that happened to be at the same time we were dealing with the first, and that those, like, the strings of fate, as it were, panned out that those two would happen at the same time, or if it's like we stopped the flood of light, and then Xenos is like, oh, fuck this Black Rose bollocks, I want to kill everybody myself, I'm not going to let some chemicals do it. I don't know. Anyway, those are just some wonderings I had. Sean and the others are making progress, but we cannot ask for more than that. Must be shattered after all that hopping back and forth between worlds. Why not stay here and rest for a while? I'm sure Beck Luke can manage without you. They've got enough science to help them, if you ask me. Right. Let's enjoy this setup for the story we're about to go play. Meanwhile in Garlic Mold. Traitors, you would dare defy Lord Nerve at the throne? Onward, before this day is done, victory shall be ours. Boring, boring, boring. Do you think? I find it amusing. Like dogs herding cattle to the slaughterhouse. That Hugh, your soul is. Who are you? Before your majesty I am but another dog, lost in want of a new master. A hunting dog if you should wish so, for I know full well the prey you would seek next. Zodiac. Here's what I want out of 6.0. I want... Oh, meanwhile in Eulmore in the first. It's like a Marvel movie when you suddenly get 2 stingers. May is reopening Deedler Stoneworks, and they're looking for labourers. Talk of resettling some of the old abandoned villages too. They're even laying on free Talos to help anyone willing to make the move. Free Talos? Ha! We best get packing. Steady work, board and lodging. If that's not a recipe for hope, I don't know what is. hope. Yeah. So long as I yet live, I would see that feeble flame rekindled. Oh, still gives me shivers. It is my destiny to see our dream fulfilled. Okay, but for real, here's what I want out of 6.0. Garlemald, still stuck in the middle of a civil war. We decide it is the perfect time to go try and take it down from the inside. We get a Cold War-ish, 80s, 90s European, let's say, I don't know, maybe not to the 90s, but no, like latter half of the 20th century European type storyline that's part spy, part crime detective, very, it's the story of us sneaking around Garlemald, trying to take it down from the inside, and trying to take advantage of the chaos of the Civil War, in the way that we couldn't do last time, well, the 14th Legion. Anyway, not going to change Ashard's name. Not normally one to pry, but Philomene has been oddly distracted ever since you came back to tell us of your trials in the first. Would you go and see if she's alright? Right. Ashard, my, what a pleasant surprise. If you come to inquire after the Archons, fear not. Master Matoya's treatment has proven effective in stabilising the corporeal ether. We mustn't grow complacent, however. Potent though these magics may be, they're not without limits. We can only hope they afford us enough time for the Crystal Exarch to complete his work. If we could only go with you to the first and help. Pardon the interruption, but I come bearing urgent news. Hey up. Ah, Ashard. It has been far too long, my friend. Forgive me, I don't believe we've been formally introduced. Maxima, Ford for Guardian Ambassador, remain here in Eosia under the auspices of Commander Alden, offering what counsel I can in the hopes of resolving the present conflict within the Empire. I've heard stories of a defector from Garlemald, but never mind that. You said you have urgent news? Indeed. As you may have heard, the Imperial capital is in turmoil, and a sizable portion of the Guardian forces have been recalled from the Gimlet Dark. With their numbers so greatly diminished, the main host of the Alliance has withdrawn, leaving the Alamegan resistance to keep watch over the border. And it's there we are welcomed a most unexpected visitor, who claims that this de-escalation may belie growing dangers and unforeseen threats. Commander Alden has arranged for an impromptu meeting to discuss his revelations. He's also requested a representative of the Scions attend as well, though it was clear to him he wished to extend his invitation. It seemed time is of the essence. Well, you'll not be attending this meeting alone. Though I'm not as well versed in the affairs of city-states as our comrades, I see no reason to burden a single Scion with all this. Of course, then we must make for the Alamegan quarter with all haste. Well, what are you waiting for? Get going, you two. Let's get out of here. I'll keep an eye on them. The drama never stops. It just keeps going and going and going. I don't know, I'm excited for 6.0 in the way that I'm excited for new story. And I have this feeling deep within my bones that we'll be going to Garlemald. I find it very odd that we haven't gone there yet. But like, that may also just be me, you know? Much has changed since the first time we set foot in the city. Now we strive to preserve the freedom rather than reclaim it, but we've no time to reminisce. We mustn't keep the commander waiting. Commander Alden awaits us in the royal palace. If you'd follow me. Right. It's time to meet our unwelcome visitor, Gaius Van Dipshit.
I hear, Commander.
And I, for one, am grateful that they are. Told you've been busy since our paths last crossed at the Gimlet Dark.
Sure have.
Not that I understand half of it. When the science spoke of other worlds, I struggled to describe what I pictured. Mayhap things would seem clearer were I to hear the tale from your own lips. But I'm afraid the situation will not afford us that luxury. I trust you two require no introduction.
We meet again, hero of Eorzea.
Slap.
Must we repeat this ridiculous display? I pose no threat to you, though what I come to warn you of very well might.
Had he meant to do us harm, I hazard he would have kept to the shadows and brought more than 2 companions.
On the one hand, Yereban for being...
Pretend to be the best of friends, but I hope we can put aside our differences for the present.
On the one hand, I appreciate his being mature, but on the other hand...
Aware, Sir Estinien and I cooperated to rid the world of Black Rose in your absence.
Don't worry, I was over on the first serving other issues.
Took us as far as the Imperial Palace, where we witnessed Emperor Varus meet his death at Xenos' hand. Being the sole witnesses to this crime, and in no position to defend our innocence, we were then forced to flee, each pursuing his own avenue of escape. When we were later reunited, Estinien claimed to have encountered an unfamiliar kind of machina during his flight, but to me his description seemed anything but, and upon further investigation I found that I was right.
Your voice is Gaius.
The Empire is developing a new Ultima weapon.
What, that Allagan monstrosity, created to vanquish primals, with which you yourself once thought to conquer Eorzea?
The same. In my foolishness, I sought to harness its power, and became the Ascian's pawn in so doing.
Bruce Bolton. I knew I recognized his voice.
I how that tale ended.
Yeah, I beat you and then left you for dead.
Excavated from beneath this very city was destroyed ere we could fully unravel its secrets, and that should have been the end of it. But unlikely as it sounds, the Empire's efforts to recreate it have somehow borne fruit, primarily through secret research conducted by the 7th Imperial Legion, it would seem.
Wait, the 7th was all but annihilated at Cartano, along with its legatus.
Indeed, few survived. The 7th, as it is now, has little in common with the
Snail Van Darnus.
And its leadership has changed hands several times since. Precisely how this project has continued despite such turmoil, and under whose auspices, remains a mystery.
Not to me, it doesn't.
What we do know, however, is that a number of prototypes have been produced, and that one of them is on its way to Eorzea. We attempted to stop it, but it was all we could do to slow its progress, so we resolved instead to bring you warning.
And right glad are we that you did, though it soundly dashed our hopes that tensions might ease at last.
As it is, we've begun to strengthen our presence in the Gimlet Dark, and are assembling a force to meet the coming threat. A force with you in its vanguard, I hope.
You've got it, /
Before I
flex.
say anything, I know full well you have pressing concerns of your own. Your comrades remain in peril, and I would not ask you to forsake them. But the fact remains that you, and you alone, have faced the Ultima weapon, and emerged victorious. We need you. And so, when the time comes, if your comrades can spare you, I bid you lend us your strength. I've assigned an officer to await your word.
The Estin's downfall was to be the work of my remaining...
Now that I know it's Roose Bolton, I keep seeing his face and not Gaius.
And I cannot allow them to spread any further.
That's the one thing that's good. At least he's like, I fucked up.
I will do what I must to see this mistake consigned to history once and for all. Even if it means begging your aid. The fates will enjoy the irony, even as I endure the ignominy.
There is definitely the...
To the border and offer my skills, meager though they seem in such company. Mayhap we shall meet there anon.
Gaius creates weapon of mass destruction. Weapon of mass destruction is massively destructive. Gaius shocked Pikachu face.
Though we can ill afford to ignore the coming of a new Ultima weapon, our friend's plight grows ever more precarious, and none save you can join them in the first. I only hope you are not forced to make a choice.
That sounds like something that could happen later. We are going to do Ruby Weapon on this guy eventually, but I'm going to focus on the story for now. It's my main goal is to push through the story. Let me have another quick Google. F14. Have any discussion about... be happening. Right, here we go. I'm trying to work out what we're likely to get. So get Shadowbring storyline. MSQ. Yeah, crossover. Okie doke. Right, so it looks like we've got right, I'm just looking at this now. So it looks like in terms of story, I want to focus, in order to be able to experience patch point 5.3 in this guy, I want to focus on Copied Factory, Ruby Weapon, and relic weapons. I think I'm going to start with Copied Factory just so that I can, like, not now obviously, but after 5.2, so I can go straight into the next raid with this guy, assuming I'm good enough. As ever, the way forward is paved with difficult decisions. We can ill afford to ignore the threat of a new Ultima weapon, but with each passing day the plight of the Scions grows ever more perilous. If you cannot stay for a debriefing on the Ultima weapon, I will not stop you. I only ask that you confer with me before returning to the first. Right, we'll unlock that another time. I take it ready to return to the first? Then I'd ask that you apprise the others of recent events here in the source, namely Xenos' return and the development of a new Ultima weapon. As for their bodies, you may assure that Master Matoy and I will continue doing what we can to keep their corporeal ether stable. Safe travels, Ashad. I hope to see you in the other Scions soon. We just teleport and fucking leave the entire planet. I don't know why it took me so long to find the article that I was looking for, but we've got the live letter soon, I think. When is that actually? July 22nd. So next Wednesday is live letter day. So, really, show us where we are. I have a sneaking suspicion / knowledge. Well, no, I know for a fact that we're going to be doing 5.2 next week. I'm going to focus on the stuff that comes out in 5.3 so we can then do the 5.3 story on this guy to keep him up to date. And then after that, I'll pick up Eden. But I'm kind of almost tempted to wait till 5.4 to pick up Eden. So that I can do all 3 in one go. Although that being said, I can remember the story of Eden a lot better than I can remember any of the other stories, so... Come at most opportune time, my friend. Made something of a breakthrough in my research on the soul, and it means to return the science home. I trust you two have been making good use of your time. Well, I've got some bad news and some other bad news. Ill tidings from the source, you say? Then are some of the others that we might all be apprised of the situation. I suppose the tea is that having, like, they could still just go fuck about on any of the other planets. And continue to cause a calamity. One presumes.
Now that we are all here, what news from the source?
Bad.
Ultima weapon. We must count ourselves lucky that Gaius has pledged his assistance.
While this is indeed a worrying development, I think the state of the Empire as a whole greater grounds for concern.
I think it's all bad.
With the Emperor slain and Xenos returned, it is impossible to predict how matters will unfold in Garlemald. The Ultima weapon may be but the first of many unpleasant surprises.
The situation beareth closer observation, of that there is no doubt, and doth compound our need to return unto the source.
Then let us address that issue. Our long search for a means to see you safely home may well be nearing its conclusion. Thanks in large part to Urianger and Becklug's invaluable insight, we have succeeded in fashioning a vessel for the journey.
We set out to create a crystalline container retaining the more useful properties of white morosite, but without its regrettable limitations. And after a good deal of trial and error, we made one. An ark for soul and mind both that will allow your incorporeal self in its entirety to be ferried between worlds. A spirit vessel, if you will.
I think I shall.
However?
Though the vessel is possessed of the requisite qualities to hold mind and memory, it wanteth yet for a means to receive of them. For that, we must needs imbue it with the Exarch's innate gift.
A gift that lives on only through the blood of the Allegan Emperors, which certainly does not flow within Orosite or any other crystal.
Just so, milady. The blood serveth as a conduit of sorts. In its absence, memory cannot pass from mind unto mind, nor from flesh unto crystal.
That being the case, we must either alter the process of inheritance so as to require no such thing, or determine a means by which my blood may permeate the vessel.
Blood.
I am hopeful that the records found within this tower will yield the knowledge we require to pursue one or the other of these avenues.
As well you should be. The Allegan's body of etherological research is extraordinary. I can scarce believe it the work of ages past. But its underlying principles are not so very...
Allegan's a kind of
my own field of study. Given time, we will find the answers we seek.
I don't know, I want to play a game set in the Allegan era. But that's just because I love the Allegan aesthetic.
And it pains me that I must ask you to do so. whatever it takes, I will see you safely home.
My apologies.
Hi, Lena.
I do hope you haven't come to tell us that mortal peril fast approaches.
No. I had hoped to speak with the Warrior of Darkness. But there is no need to cut short your meeting on my account. I will be waiting outside.
Something I really wish is that the ears were...
She knows I don't mind. Unless she didn't want to.
Perhaps I might accompany you. Though I am woefully ill-qualified to assist in the Exarch's research, I may yet be of some use to Lena.
What do we want? Direct hit, I guess. I wish the bunny ears were more expressive, the way that the cat ears are. Like, if they're surprised, they do the ears. I wish bunny ears did the same thing. I think it's been rather brisk with me years late. You don't suppose you're still upset over that mishap with the salmon fillet, do you? Never have seen such repulsive knowledge. Stark reminder of how little we truly know of the world. Upon White Orisite's crystalline foundation, we built not a prison, but a refuge for the soul. With that Mon breeder, we're here to see the wonders inspired by her research. I think we'll not only have Xenos to contend with once we return, but a new ultimate weapon as well. Why must all our enemies insist on returning from their graves? I ask myself that every day, Stola. Must confess, while I enjoy my first scare of solidity research, it'll be good to step outside for a spot of fresh air. Now then, should we go and speak with Lena? Really? I'm just enjoying the Crystarian music. I mean, I like the music here as well, but... Crystarian music, though, am I right? Just we hurry. Lena does not strike me as one who enjoys being made to wait. We have little time, so I'll be brief. A Sin Eater has been sighted in Lakeland, and I ask your assistance in slaying it. Sin Eater? I'd heard some few yet remained after the night returned, but perhaps we should call the others. Will not be necessary. It is only a single Sin Eater. A simple task for a guard, I should think. That said, I believe fighting alongside the Warrior of Darkness would be a valuable experience for them. Peace can lead to complacency, and they gain nothing from an easy victory, but you do not underestimate your foes, however harmless they may seem. My men would do well to learn from your example. Me? Why not Alphina? Don't be serious. Come now, Ashad. What could be more inspiring than fighting alongside the renowned Warrior of Darkness himself? I guess. Excellent. Then let us make the fort job. Because Ashad always has the mini midge out, I wonder what people think, like, I wonder what people think of Ashad just being there with like a tiny dragon on his shoulder. Occasionally coming in to like comment on stuff. I have a musical bone in my body. Potatoes. The camera cuts to me. I've done next to nothing at all. Sinister are no longer have a leader to guide them, but no less dangerous. If you would wait here a moment, I will gather the others. You may not remember, you've met these soldiers once before, though only in passing. Long have they awaited the opportunity to fight by your side. I was at death's door that day after the Sunnis attacked. If only yours hadn't come along, I'd likely have stepped through, and I wouldn't have been alone. Courage and selfishness is something we all selflessness, something we all aspire to. I was there at that terrible day. My friend was transformed into a Estinien before my very eyes, and I had no choice but to cut her down. The thought of returning to the field of holding a blade again filled me with dread, but that is no way to honour her or my comrades, and so I returned. I swear I will not let you or anyone else down from this day forward. A pleasure to meet you, sir. Truly, it seems like only yesterday I watched as you took flight in a stride in a morrow to go and save the Oracle. Strange to think the Eulmore soldiers we once locked blades with are now on our side, but we'll do our utmost to keep the peace here in Lakeland. We seem to be missing one. My apologies, Captain Nina. An elderly gentleman asked that we escort him to Clearmount. It took longer than expected. Not because you were designed to help those in need, but a soldier must be punctual, especially when we play host to honoured guests. It won't happen again. Name's Tialia. I'm sorry you don't remember, but we met once before in the infirmary. Ayla? I know how words work. I asked you to deliver a message to the Exarch and the Warrior of Darkness. Little did I know I was already talking to him. Don't give up. Don't give in. I keep those words close to my heart, and the boundless beautiful skies above serve as a reminder of their importance. My friend got to see the Knight's return shortly before he passed. He left this world with a smile, satisfied with a glimpse of what was to come. But there are countless others who weren't so fortunate. They gave their lives to the promise of a future they'll never know, and so it falls to us to do everything we can to fulfill that promise. No matter what happens, we won't give up, and we won't give in. Your heroism has inspired all of our guardsmen in much the same manner. Our scouts at the northern staging point have not had the pleasure of meeting you in person. Let us not keep them waiting. I don't know, I feel like thinking about this, Maeve finds it really weird and uncomfortable making to be considered like someone to be respected in that manner. Oshrod, I think, is a bit like, on the one hand he's like, well, it's nice to get the recognition, but on the other hand he's a bit like, as a person he's not someone you should look up to. He definitely represents an ideal more than a person. I think his attitude is very often that a lot of people, if they actually knew what he was like, would not treat him the same way. Like, they treat him as the sort of, they revere him because he's the Warrior of Light, but then he is like, honestly, genuinely just not a particularly nice person to be around.
Did you slay this eater? Your orders were to await the main force before engaging.
No, Captain. It wasn't us, I swear it. A man came out of nowhere and cut it down before we knew what was happening.
By himself. Certainly it is no light warden, but nevertheless.
It's true. Felled it with a single swing of his axe, he did. I've never seen anything like it.
Like to go ask him a question.
But who are you, the Warrior of Bleeding Darkness? And he says no. I'm a Warrior of Light. And that was it. Buggered off as quick as he came.
A Warrior of Light?
Why would someone go around calling himself that, though? It was those bastards who caused the flood.
Wins.
I mean, if you were going to pretend to be anyone, it'd be him, the Warrior of Darkness.
Oh, I
I figure a lot of people make up the stories like the, you know, the warrior of darkness is 8 foot tall and incredibly strong, and he can break you in half with a single touch of his hand, and then they actually get
no longer a threat. Our work here
this
is
dragon.
done. Return to your posts.
I had hoped to fight at your side today, but I'll continue to follow your example, and may we meet again.
Alpha notes confidentially, like, you really don't want to follow his example.
I apologize for the wasted journey. It seems I overestimated the threat. As for this warrior of light, I do not know who would be brazen enough to take that mantle for his own. Whatever it may once have meant, it is forever tainted by the association with the Flood. The Exarch told me the truth of Ardbert and his comrades' deeds, and I am aware they played some part in your own triumph. But to most, they are synonymous with the calamity that befell this world. Still, if this man is minded to destroy Sin Eaters, I may forgive him his unfortunate choice of alias. But that is neither here nor there. I thank you for accompanying me.
With that concluded, shall we return to the Crystarium? There is a proposal I should like to make.
Oh, Alfie. Alfie says that words, and everyone within a nearby radius gets a moment of terror.
There is one more thing. A personal concern of mine. I had hoped you might have a moment to speak privately.
Take your time. I shall go on ahead.
What's the tea, Lena?
I will not mince words. This matter concerns the Exarch. Though his countenance belies his age, his demeanor never has. He has seen more than any man should and grown ever more weary with time. But I see I give the wrong impression. While it is true he attempted to open a letter with a salmon fillet the other evening, we are not here because I suspect his mind is deteriorating. Nor do I believe him to be so maddeningly unconcerned by the prospect of his own death as he once was. Indeed, the opposite is true. It is for this reason that I seek your advice. Since he returned from the Tempest, the Exarch is not as he was.
Many reasons for that one.
He seems a different man. A younger man. I know not the details of his research, but when I saw him at work recently, there was a glint in his eye that I had never seen before. He looked happy. It was as if he had peered into the future and for the first time found joy there.
Which is even more sad because I personally prognosticate something bad's going to happen to him.
Though it gladdens me to see him thus, I wonder if I should not keep my distance. I fear that my presence will only anchor him to the past, remind him of all the pain that came before.
He's lost without you, you know, and he misses you already.
Are you sure? Then perhaps we might remain as we were. As we have always been. What a relief.
Don't come to our shard for emotional advice.
I will have to speak with him about the amount of time he is spending at work. This research is important, I know, but if he refuses to consider his own health, I will have to consider it for him.
But yeah, don't come to our shard for emotional advice, he's terrible at it. Sorry, I thought I could hear a thing over my headset. I was wrong, but I will not keep you. You and your comrades have much to discuss. I will see the others back to their posts. Let's do this. Charging the Dracos is a bad idea. Me too, buddy. Okay. I had another thought, which is that this 5.2 is not as story heavy as 5.1 was. So hopefully I should be able to get it done next week. And then I just need to pick a thing to start with and keep going, I guess. Let's go. An adventurer calling themselves a warrior of light. Why would anyone tie themselves to the legacy of individuals held in such low regard in the first? Warriors of light, harbingers of the flood and all the world's words. That this wanderer would so boldly claim that title is most curious indeed. It is strange to think how heroes so beloved by the people could be brought so low in such short a time. Alpha noticed me a warrior of light from the Senator. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what to make of this. I was hoping to speak with you about... on second thought, never mind. It would be rude of me to pry. Others were quite shocked to hear of what we found in Lakeland, but now you're here, there's a proposal I should like to make. Whenever Alfie says that, I just get nervous. I've been spending a great deal of time in my cabinet of curiosity, and of late I've noticed more and more people perusing books on history, the years leading up to the flood in particular. I suspect they wish to know more about the Warriors of Light. As well they should, but nearly everything I've come across describes them as sin eaters or worse. Regardless of whether or not this warrior of light is who they claim to be, I read that their sudden appearance, in conjunction with this renewed interest in the predecessors, may lead to growing unrest and fear. If the people of the Crystarium seek the truth, I say we give it to them. I too can attest to the falsehoods found within many of the Cabinet's tomes, with nary a mention of the noble deeds of Ardbert and his comrades. To be fair, they bear some responsibility for the flood, but when the tale is told again and again over the course of a century, I'm not surprised to see their roles distorted and then painted as villains. And also, the responsibility of the flood was one of ignorance, not malice. Were not for the records stored within the Crystal Tower, I would have had no reason to question the narrative. Unfortunately, that knowledge was of no use. When I arrived here in the first, the reputation had already been irreparably tarnished. That said, there still remain those who worked tirelessly to defend their good name in those early days following the flood. Considering all the good they had done, I find it a wonder they needed defending at all. They brought to justice a man who misused my knowledge to bring about the fall of Ardbert. That such heroes could be spoken of in the same breath as the Sin Eaters is absurd. Under normal circumstances I'd agree, but as time passed, those who knew firsthand of their deeds dwindled. In the end, only one truth remained, that they were the cause of the flood. With the world on the brink of oblivion, it was all too easy for the Warriors of Light to become villains deserving only of resentment and hate. At that point, the truth mattered little. It would not change their lot. Thanks to all of you, however, their lot has changed, and now they may heed the long-forgotten truth. You claimed it was Ardbert who helped you overcome Emet, correct? Such a revelation would do well to sway the hearts of those who know him only as a villain. I've shared this with a select few, but one and all must be told of a sacrifice. To that end, I say we proceed with Alphino's plan. We call together the people of the Crystarium, and recount to them the true tale of the Warriors of Light and the flood that followed in their wake. Well, what say you, Ashard? Wish we'd done this sooner. In hindsight, I agree, but better late than never, no? Exarch, might I ask you to continue working with Beckluke on our means of returning home? The rest of us will see to gathering the people of the Crystarium in the Exedra. We have to reach out to anyone and everyone who might be willing to lend an ear. With any luck, word will spread and more will accompany them. Contrived setups for later cutscenes be like. Seen many a great terrible thing in my short life, as does the Exarch, no doubt. Of man I can say this, his memory short, his heart fickle. Let us pray that your words reach him. Can be no doubt of that light, so it was that Ardbert was there in your hour of need. The people must be told. I also headcanoned for Ashard that Ardbert very much remains almost like a part of him. So he's almost like, once his soul goes back into Ardbert's, he's sort of dormant, but every so often he sort of comes out and, you know, comments on stuff. So he'll come out and like comment on the story. So he's definitely have shit to say right now, for example. But that's my personal headcanon. So, but yeah, no, Ashad is definitely Ardbert propaganda squad. To what do I owe this pleasure? Whatever it is, I must ask you to be brief. With the night return, visitors have been flocking to the Crystarium, and I find myself too busy by half. Don't mind it, though. Seeing the stairs so full in life and excitement, one can almost forget the flood ever happened. Warriors of Light? Yeah, the Exarch has mentioned them before, but everyone knows them now as the cardinal virtues. Or are you suggesting there's more to it than that? Well, you've yet to steer us wrong, so we're willing to hear what you have to say. Thanks, dude. Come to browse wares in the market, have you? I can guarantee you'll have no trouble finding what you need, whatever it may be. Under Eulmore's new leadership, trade has never been more prosperous. What is that fellow from Deedler's Stoneworks has taken over as mayor? Did he really? Little wonder business is booming the way it is. Imagine it won't be long before all of Northrend reaps the benefit. But you've not come to talk about the market. Something on your mind? Yes, actually. See, Exarch did mention they had something to do with your returning to the night to Northrend. All right, consider my interest piqued. Pardon me for the hiccups. I don't know, I don't know how I feel about that newish Guardian. It just looks so much better on female characters. Ashard, my, what a wonderful surprise. Though I hope your being here doesn't mean someone's been hurt. Thanks to you, I've had far fewer patients coming through my doors of late. What a shame, come to think of it. I've had fewer opportunities to test my new medicines. I jest, of course. It's actually been quite pleasant to have a few moments to myself now and again. Truth about the Warriors of Light? The Exarch has already spoken with me about them. Well, if there's more to the tale, I'd very much like to hear it. God, do you remember when we first stepped foot in the Crystarium? How beautiful it was, being able to wander around here. I have mixed feelings on FF14's hype machine, because I feel like on the one hand, it, like the hype machine does, you know, it's a hype machine, and so the goal is to get you really enthusiastic about stuff, but sometimes that leads to burnout or to like a later lack of interest. But on the other hand, I do like that the hype machine, it gets you... What I'm trying to say is, I know some people who find FF14's hype machine to just be exhausting, and there's so much of like, here's the like letter, and these are all these hints, and here's the trailer, and here's the new website, and, you know, here are all these little hints, and they find it to be exhausting, and they want to be like, I don't care, I just want to play the game. And then I find there are other people who get really into it, and I go backwards and forwards a lot. I think at the moment, because I'm like missing FF14 content, I'm into the hype machine as a concept, because I do like that it does the job well of getting you interested in what's going on, and I'm remembering like the trailers and when the fairies were first introduced to us and first seeing the photos of the Crystarium and how stunning they were. Like, I have such fond memories of that, you know? What a coincidence. I was just reading over a letter I received from Grenon not long ago. He says a visitor from the Crystarium found him at the bottom of the ocean and that he inspired him to reach new artistic heights. Well, I can only think of one person capable of both feats, though I'd say the latter is far more impressive. To think fate could bring the two of you together in such a place. I'm sorry, you mean the Exarch didn't tell us the whole story of the Warriors of Light? Well, whatever he's left to have said, I'm all ears. That would have been funnier if she was a bunny. Because then it would have been like, I'm all ears. And she has lots of ears. You know? Looks around shiftily. Pop. Like, coming in here for the first time, Maeve was like, I'm never leaving. This is my home now. I love it here. Can't be. Surely there's at least one book here that doesn't cast the Warriors of Light and their deeds in such a negative light. Boy, have I got some good news for you. Ashard, forgive me. Cabinet of Curiosity has been bustling with visitors of late, but I fear a repository lacks for the knowledge they seek. The people should know the truth of the Flood, of the Warriors of Light. I've searched high and low, but alas, every account portrays them as no better than sin-eaters, abominations worthy only of scorn and resentment. I know they were not always judged so harshly, yet I can find no proof, and I dare call myself a librarian. You would address the people and tell them the truth of the Warriors of Light? Of the Flood? How wonderful. You've regaled me with the tale once before, but I should love to hear it again. Oh, and you may be assured I will not come alone. The thing about this is, like, I feel like this is more meaningful if you've already done the, if you've done the rest of the capstone quest, which I haven't on this guy. So technically this guy doesn't know the whole truth of the Flood, although one presumes perhaps Ardbert explained it to him. For me, knowing as I do the capstone story, it is still pretty meaningful. Just enjoying the music. Forgive me. Those I spoke with at the Orchid and the Rookery were quite keen to hear of what we have to say. For as much hope as they have for the future, the scars of the past weigh heavy on them still. It is good to see the people of the Crystarium so eager to learn the truth, and with this newfound knowledge of the past, they will at last be able to look to the future with eyes unclouded. There you are. Between the four of us, I dare say we've set the Crystarium from top to bottom. Now we need but wait for the people to gather.
Yes, this looks to be nearly everyone.
They've gathered the entire Crystarium.
Though I am usually the first to hold forth at such events, I think on this occasion that honour should fall to you.
Allow the spirit of Ardbert to possess you,
I
and
would be more inclined to take the word of the Warrior of Darkness.
Indeed. In light of the subject matter, who better than thee to speak these truths?
the spirit of Ardbert possesses us and tells the story. How they were these 5 buddies, and they were good friends. There was another one there, but we don't talk about her. They fought all manner of evil things together. But then something bad happened. They didn't realise they were killing all of the bad. Minfilia came and helped them, and then later on Ardbert haunted me for a bit, and then he gave me his axe and we used that to bring darkness back to the world.
Wicked White? The Warriors of Light did all that?
The thing is, I always think they're responsible for the flood, yes, but out of ignorance, not out of malice.
I mean, they only ever wanted to help. And when everything they'd done turned to ash, they still carried on.
They gave everything to stop the flood. First their lives, then their souls. And they managed it too, in the end. They saved us. And we cursed their names.
This should go a long way towards clearing the air.
Okay. Here's the setup. I'm tossing a baseball into the air as if I were perhaps to bat it. And here's the payoff. And that's me batting the baseball.
Impossible.
I'm so sad nobody said, it looks like you've seen a ghost. You can see him too?
I definitely see something. You don't think it's a ghost, do you?
Oh, I was haunted by a ghost like this whole time.
Yonder standeth no bloodless apparition, but a warrior of light and darkness both. Ardbert.
Adalbert.
What in the world?
That was my reaction too.
It's you! The one who slew the Eater! That it should be the warrior of darkness who brought the truth to light. You've saved me a fair bit of time. Though I have a few words of my own to say, if I may.
A little fuckface. Get out of my friend's body, Elidibus.
People of the Crystarium!
I hate it so much.
One of those you know as a warrior of light.
That's impossible. You should be dead.
There's an Ascian possessing his body.
That I should. But as the world has been given new life, so too have I. I know not why I, and I alone, have been gifted this chance. But I do know this. Only by the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass. The hero who stands before you now, the warrior of darkness, is not of this world. And the day will come when he must return to his home.
Peace. You wonder where I was disappearing
This
to?
land is our home. And if it is to remain so, now and forevermore, it is we who must protect it. The time to rely on saviors from afar has passed. It is you who must rise. You who must become the new warriors of light. What? Us? Warriors of light?
Here's my tea though. Wouldn't Heidelin give new people the Warrior of Light powers?
Were born heroes, my friend. I was only ever a man with a thirst for adventure. But wherever my journeys took me, I was invariably confronted with the same choice. To lend what aid I could to those in need, or not. And I always chose the former.
Unlike Arshad, he was bullied by Heidelin and his friends into doing it.
Do the same. All you need is the will to help your fellow man, and the resolve to see it through.
Oh, sorry, I accidentally skipped over that, but I accidentally skipped that by tabbing back into the game. But basically what they're saying is shit's absolutely fucked. Shit's so fucked. It's really bad. I hate that so much. It makes me genuinely sick to my stomach to think of a little fuckface in our friend's body. It really unsettles me.
So, that is a warrior of light of the first.
Well, it's certainly his body.
I've not had the pleasure of making his acquaintance, but as you all seem to be in agreement, I gather this is no simple case of mistaken identity.
As far as I was able to discern, that was indeed Ardbert. It has been a long time.
It's 100 years, and his body would be a skeleton by now.
As he claims.
And no, absolutely not. I know, because the real Ardbert is in my head.
Entrust his very soul unto thee. I see no reason to question thy judgment.
Nor I. To my eyes, your ether burns as brightly as the day you slew Emmett Selk. That is proof that he is with you still.
Yet that which standeth now before the people is far more than a passing imitation. I am reminded of the cardinal virtues, though a sin-eater he is not. Which leaveth but one plausible explanation.
That he is an Ascian.
I'm so glad that this wasn't drawn out and it was agreed upon, like, in the same scene.
Given their fondness for posthumous possession, I would have to agree. From what I understand, the Warriors of Light were laid to rest in Eulmore by those whom they had aided in life. At the time, some few still remembered them as heroes. Needless to say, 4 of them were subsequently exhumed to serve as the virtues. And if one knew where to look, Ardbert too would not have been difficult to find.
Assuming then that this is indeed the work of an Ascian, my mind inevitably turns to the last remaining paragon to survive the Sundering.
Little shithead. Shitheadibus. Much funnier.
ELIDIBUS. That Xenos hath reclaimed his own flesh is known. Thus evicted from his borrowed form, and cognizant no doubt of Emmett Selk's failure here in the first, 'tis quite possible the emissary chose Ardbert for his next vessel.
The thing that I like about ELIDIBUS is A, that he's...
Flesh of the fallen. Why, that is unsavory. And they do this often, you say?
He's a returning villain, but in the sense that he disappears and comes back rather than comes back from death.
For they possess no corporeal forms of their own. In what one may term their natural state, none save those gifted with the echo can perceive them. Indeed, when ELIDIBUS intruded upon the waking sands, his presence did go unmarked by all save Minfilia and the Warrior of Light. On that occasion I myself remained ignorant of his coming until after his departure. It was only at a later juncture, when he deigned to appear before me in borrowed flesh, that I was finally able to take the measure of him. In such puppetry do the Ascians engage when they seek to influence the course of history.
And they have gained much by it. Emmett Selk single-handedly built the Garlean Empire.
And the Ascian, Allegan Empire, and Mark as well, I believe.
Taken possession of Thancred's living body.
Yet it must needs be noted that the Ascians cannot avail themselves of all mortal vessels. For were they able to do so, none would serve as a better pawn than our own redoubtable champion. Mayhap the blessing of light shieldeth Hydaelyn's chosen from Ascian influence. Or
Whatever the reason, I hope it holds true. I dare not contemplate what might come to pass otherwise.
Is it not peculiar, then, that ARDBERT'S mortal remains should be susceptible, given that he was once a warrior of light? Or did the final departure of his soul make it possible?
I'm guessing the latter.
Regardless, to hear an Ascian use him to call forth new warriors of light boggles the mind.
ELIDIBUS hath ever been an enigma, his ostensible purpose being to preserve the balance between...
That's what I find most interesting about him, is that he's different.
When he made overtures towards me, however, I was afforded a glimpse behind the...
Inverted commas, like, I should say.
I shall not defend mine actions, undertaken in pursuit of a better understanding of our foe as either wise or prudent. Nevertheless, what little I did glean may now prove useful. ELIDIBUS
Absolute
possesseth
shithead.
a subtle mind, practiced in the art of manipulation. That he coaxed this star's most valiant heroes as far as the source with naught save half-truths is no trifling feat.
I hate ELIDIBUS. I find him interesting, but I don't like him.
And now I believe he doth employ his skills once more to some as yet unknown end. Though naught is certain, should my suspicions prove true, we shall have need of all our wits if we are to uncover and thereafter thwart his plot.
Good thing I'm an idiot.
Agreed. 'Tis plain that simply speaking out against him will not avail us. At best, it would only serve to confuse the people. And I would hesitate to do anything which might tarnish ARDBERT'S reputation once more, nor yours by association.
Uncomfortable noises.
That being the case, it may be wise to keep a covert eye on this ARDBERT'S movements, as we attempt to discern his purpose and how best to mitigate his influence.
Seems sensible.
His performance appears to have concluded. What now? Go back out and follow him?
Twould appear Master Alphino already hath pursuit in mind, and I suspect one pair of eyes shall better serve our cause than half a dozen. Let the rest of us maintain an inconspicuous distance.
It is a curse
At least.
that whenever Alphino is like, I have an idea, something goes wrong. I guess that's kind of just how Alphino is, though, like, as a person. He's like, I had a thought, and you're like, did you? Critical hit. Eats a lot of food, even though I'm only gonna use it for leveling, not actually raiding. We were a hair's breadth from defeat when we faced Emersalk, and now we must contend with yet another Ascian. We must tread carefully. We must not act until ARDBERT have made plain his plans. It would be folly to proclaim them false at this juncture. What despicable practice, appropriating corpses. Such depravity eclipses any horrors I've witnessed in the age of ARDBERT. They must be stopped. Indeed, they must, but I think that is a very good point for us to end on. It is a fantastic cliffhanger, if you ask me. So I am indeed going to end stream off here. I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. It is very much appreciated, and I do hope that you enjoyed. I will be streaming. I may or may not be streaming tomorrow. I probably won't be because I'm in the office on Wednesday, so I'm always exhausted when I get home. But I may or may not be streaming tomorrow. It'll either be Destiny or Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I really need to finish. On Thursday, however, I will definitely be streaming Higurashi When They Cry Mayakashi, where we'll continue down the path of revenge and continue to see the effects of having broken into the ritual storehouse. Then on Saturday it will be Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, where we will be breaking back into the archives to try and steal some papers back, and also seeing what the Abia are getting up to. Then Sunday it'll be Destiny 2, where we shall continue with our various activities, and basically I've got lots of stuff to do, so we're going to be doing that we're just hanging out. And the next Tuesday will be Final Fantasy XIV, where I suspect we shall be wrapping up the story of 5.2, and then perhaps finally moving into some of the optional stuff, the Chronicles of New Era stuff. I just haven't decided which one to start with yet. Either way, take care everybody, have a wonderful evening, do look after yourselves, be excellent to each other, and I shall see you guys possibly tomorrow, and if not, definitely on Thursday.